Tonight's Four Corners program features shocking video footage.
Animals Australia has again been responsible for extensive evidence gathering in Indonesia.
Animals Australia filmed in 11 of the 100 abattoirs in Indonesia. Some scenes are too gruesome to show.
We'd assumed that because there were greater level of industry involvement in Indonesia, the treatment of livestock would be better, but we couldn't have been more wrong.
I'd seen gruesome pictures of this place before we came here, but actually being here with the smell of blood and fear is almost totally overwhelming. The noise of those terrified animals makes you wonder how the Australian cattle industry could support an operation like this, but also how the Australian taxpayer could be helping to pay for it.
Brutal mistreatment of Australian cattle.
Slow and painful death.
Hit, their eyes gouged and tails broken.
Effectively being tortured to death.
Seriously abused.
How did this cruelty happen for so long?
They were clearly cognizant of what was going on, and it was causing them extreme fear.
This is clearly absolutely not acceptable for a developed country to be sending those cattle in there.
We have an industry, a live export trade, that has thrived on the fact that where they send animals, they know that Australian eyes are not going to be seeing what occurs.
For the first time, RSPCA and Animals Australia are working on a joint campaign to end the live trade of cattle to Indonesia.
We are being swamped on the soapbox.
Australians were shocked by that footage. Industry was shocked by that footage.
Disgusting, and it's inhumane. Enormous public outcry.
Thousands of emails.
Animals Australia's campaign against the trade has made it a mainstream issue.
Well, Jane's right, it blew up on talkback radio and in Parliament.
MPs, steeled by enormous public outrage, are prepared to force the government to act.
We've got to immediately stop the export of animals to Indonesia, and we've got to wind up the industry in 3 years.
This trade needs to stop.
The Australian government needs to do the right thing.
Live animal exports are shiploads of misery.
If the true moral test of a nation is our treatment of those who are most vulnerable and dependent on our care, including our animals, then we are failing.
Our top story today, the federal government is suspending all live cattle exports to Indonesia.
These cattle in Darwin are no longer heading for a cruel demise in Indonesian slaughterhouses.
A $300 million a year industry is at a standstill.
Just recently, I returned from an investigation in Turkey, which is a new and developing market for Australian animals. There, we also documented horrendous slaughter methods were routine.
More anger over live export.
Thousands of people have rallied around Australia to push for an end to the live export trade.
Thousands of people.
Thousands of people.
This large group is demanding an end to live cattle exports.
Protesters say above all this is about giving a voice to animals that are suffering in silence.
We don't want it. We want it to stop completely.
It's disgusting. I can't stand it.
The crisis in the trade has triggered a major change. Large numbers of Australian animals will now be stunned before they're killed.
In Jordan, more than 80% of all livestock is stunned before slaughter. It's a program that owes its origins to an investigation by Animals Australia in 2007.
It's been hugely instrumental here because the original footage from Animals Australia was what set me off.
The reality across the Middle East today is that live exports are in decline.
This issue will not go away.
What I can say to you is that our investigations will continue into this trade, and no doubt we will be providing further evidence of Australian animals being cruelly treated.